Yo, what's up guys, the Insane Game Freak here. I haven't done a discussion. I want to say societal discussion, but the problem is I've kind of touched upon this topic before in those societal discussions, and I don't want those to be redundant with me just bringing it up again. I'm just going to make this a normal discussion. And what this discussion is about is the martyr mentality. You know, the martyr is pretty much, the best way, for those who don't know what a martyr is, it's pretty much, a martyr is someone who pretty much throws himself on the fire for the sake of others, regardless of the consequences. It's pretty much like the Jesus mentality, you know, the whole throwing up on the cross, dying for our sins thing. And if you want to know where this came from, I'm going to say two people, Persian Version and FouseyTube. Why those two people? Well, for one, Persian Version has been sharing FouseyTube videos on Facebook, and I was like, fuck, and I had to watch, and I watched them, and now it's in my mind. FouseyTube, because the videos in question are videos in which he pretty much creates a situation where he's doing something controversial or morally wrong to see how many people actually intervene. And I guess the more disturbing thing about the video is the fact that barely anybody ever intervenes. I think the one I just watched was him being racist towards a woman for wearing a hijab in America, and I think only 2 people stopped and said something to him. 2 people. Or the other one, when he was bullying, I think he was bullying a kid. Only 2 or 3 people stopped out of 5. No, not out of 5. It was more than 5. Right out of Spider? No. Cobwebs. Distractions, yay! No. Out of a group of maybe 10 or so. It was a lot of people just walking by. He tried to do this in the middle of a college campus, so it would make more sense to do that. And that's when that's the shit that kind of hits you, is more of how many people don't do this. But I feel like there's an underlying reason of why people don't step into these type of situations and help those who are in trouble. And I think it's less to do with the moral side of things and more to do with the mentality behind it. And granted, you could call this a societal discussion because it does go back to society in a sense, but let's just kind of move forward and let me explain what I'm talking about. So, you have these situations in which a kid is being racially abused, physically abused, or whatever, and no one stops to help. People think, oh, it's because they don't know that this is wrong and some shit. They think it's more of a moral thing, that they just morally won't get involved. It has nothing to do with morals at all. Well, okay, let me first say, it has very little. I think maybe 10 or 20% of that of their reasoning not getting involved it would be dealing with the morals. Because most kids, especially most college students, are aware that this kind of shit is wrong. Racism is wrong. Bullying is wrong. This is shit that this is elementary school type shit. We've been taught this since we were in pre-K and kindergarten, 1st grade. It has really less to do with that and more of I don't want to get involved knowing that it will not benefit me at all kind of mentality. And where does this mentality come from? You guessed it, society. And it's kind of funny because it's a very contradicting nature. See, when we're young, we're told how we should help others and be kind to others and treat others with respect. And then we get to later years in our lives, particularly high school, and we're introduced to many situations in which we follow the rules we were taught when we were younger, and they usually bite us in the ass. I think almost everybody's experienced a situation in which you were nice to someone and it fucked you over bad. You protected someone, it fucked you over bad. You did all this shit for them, knowing and didn't really care if you got anything out of return, and it just ended up burning you bad, really fucking bad. And people took those situations and learned that people are dicks, and people are assholes, and people will fuck you over all day. And that's not everyone, but it just makes people a lot more cautious of those situations, meaning they would have to, in order to get someone to actually react, you would have to put them in a very, very specific situation to get them to react. Specifically, something in which they're the only person there, and because when you're in a group of people, people will not just jump out and take the hit for you. To me, people view helping people nowadays as taking a bullet for them, or pretty much throwing yourself to get killed. Why? Because they understand that nowadays that's how those situations go. There's a lot of things that would make a person not want to get involved. You don't know the situation. If it's just two random people that you don't know anything about, and you see one's getting, verbally or physically abused by the other, you don't know what the fuck originated that conversation. You don't understand what's going on right now. You're just kind of like sitting there going, your mind's processing is like, should I jump in? But if you jump in and you don't know you could end up protecting the person who you don't even agree with. There are too many risks and things, and people understand that when you jump into those type of situations, you're setting yourself up to get knocked down. And you may be the only one who gets knocked down in that situation. Also, you don't know what kind of person the person getting abused is. That means if you take that hit for them or take that abuse for them and you put yourself in that situation for them, they may just say, hey, look, the situation benefited me, so I'm going to run away. And niggas get left on the street and get shot and get murdered and get killed or just get fucked up. They ruin the whole premise behind this shit is that your day gets ruined for someone else who may not even give a fuck about you. And no one wants to take that risk. Especially when they've had that shit happen to them in the past with people they thought they knew. Or people they were at least close enough with to do that shit with. So to do that with a stranger, on top of all the paranoia that's been built up over the years from previous situations you've been in, to do that has very little to do with morals. It's like most people understand this shit is wrong. But it's more of, am I willing to fuck up my day or put my day or life or whatever in risk for someone I don't know who may or may not even appreciate it? No. And most people come to the conclusion, no. If we're thinking about this logically, morals versus your own livelihood, then people aren't going to fucking do it. And as I said, society teaches us to do it, which then backfires, in which turns it into the situation where people are like, why are there no... And it kind of is funny because it leads into other aspects of life. Like, you know how it's like, why are there any nice guys anymore? It's like, because niggas tried to be nice guys and they got fucked over, and they don't view it as worth it. And plus that, you see situations in which that shit happens. I guess the best example I can think of is Enemy of the State with Will Smith, where it was like, that shit would happen and he pretty much fucked his whole shit up. Like, he couldn't see his family or any of that crap. All that for the greater good, and it didn't really benefit him in the end. He went through too much shit that didn't even benefit him. It was just something that he would have eventually come to realize with the rest of the world, but at the end of the day, he went through all that shit and really had nothing to show for it. Had an accomplishment that didn't even mean anything for anyone else. It's just a sense of accomplishment. And even then, it's that whole give and take mentality. That's the worst connotation to put on this type of shit. It's like, if you're nice to others, nice things will happen to you. Don't lie to children and tell them that shit, because then it makes you think that you should be getting something out of the deal. Good action should just be through your own kindness, and you shouldn't expect anything out of return. But people like to make it seem like you should. You should. Good things will happen to you when you do good things for others. Or, when bad people do things, they get bad karma. And some of them don't. A lot of them don't. Karma don't believe in karma. Not like that. Not on that fucking level. And that's my whole thing. Is this martyr complex is the reason why people won't jump into these type of situations. As I said, it's just, why fuck up everything I'm doing for someone I don't know? Especially when that person could easily just treat me like shit. And I'm sitting there with a bruised face and feeling like shit because it's like, yay, I protected a woman who didn't even thank me and slapped me and said I was interfering in something that wasn't my business. Yeah, that really makes me want to protect the woman the next time I see her getting abused on a truck. And granted, you shouldn't treat everyone as the same, but that's what we do. That's what we fucking do as humans. It's like we take a situation, we see how that went, and we compare it to this situation and go, is it fucking worth it? And 9 times out of 10, it's not. The people who still do that either have an incredible resilience or are just or very anime shonen about it. And what I mean by that is that they have that whole never give up quality. They have that kind of self-destructive attitude. Because as much as we want to say that helping others will eventually have good things happen to you, no, people can help others and still get fucked up. They can still get killed. They can still die. They can still fuck their entire situation up for someone who they didn't even know, who may not even take anything away from that person, from your fucked up situation. It's less about whether it's right or wrong, and it's more about why should I? That's the fucked up truth about people in general. You know, we take the experiences we have and we learn from them. Whether that learning ends up positively for other people or positively for you is a different story. Usually it's positively for you, and then the person who you would have helped doesn't get helped, which ends up very negative to them, in which case just kind of continues the cycle in a sense. It's like when you're in that position getting beat up, you see people didn't give a fuck about you, and then you take that anger you hold against those people and you do the same to another situation and you just let it fucking happen. And that's usually how it goes. We're under the cycle of hatred and depression and just mistrust, and it's something that logistically you have no reason to go out of. Like, it's illogical to help somebody. And I know that's kind of fucked up, but just think about it. On the logical state, taking out emotions and morals, because those aren't logical things, those are emotional things. On a logistical level, there is no logical reason to help someone unless you know you're getting something out of it. And then you have to weigh in what could possibly happen versus what you possibly gain. And it becomes a whether the means justify the end or not. That's how this shit works. That's why people don't help. That's why we are the way we are. Because we've seen these situations play out before, and we understand that this shit usually ends up fucking us over, and the person who gets away, who benefits from us, may not even take anything away from it. It's like people who think that their lives mean something because they've done such and such things, and it may not mean jack shit. It's the same logic. It's the whole helping someone is more of a moral and emotional stance than a logistical one. And logic says, don't do it. It's that whole your brain says no, but your heart says yes. But your brain knows that at the end of the day, it's not going to fuck up your life to say no. And then you usually just walk on about your business. This is actually one of the reasons why, and I've said this before, the reason why I would never move into those states and where this shit happens all the time, because I would die. I would be dead in a matter of months or days, because I can't stand by and watch that kind of shit. But I know, I'm smart enough to know I'm not going to put myself in that situation either. So that's what the underlying situation is. And please tell me if you agree or you disagree in your thoughts and comments. But that's why I feel like people don't help out others anymore. Because they know that at the end of the day, there's a higher risk of it fucking you over than a risk of it turning out the way you want. You turning out a good, peaceful way where no one getting fucked over. That's rare. In life, shit, there's too many unpredictable variables for people to just jump into a situation willy-nilly and not worry about the consequences. It's the right thing to do, but it's not the logical thing to do. That's the mentality behind it. So, thank you guys for watching. Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. This has been the Insane Game Freak. Let's a game, let it win, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace! Fuck you, Bellamy. God, you were so painfully stupid.